everybody needs go-to meals in their pocket. Things that are just easy to make. You can do something with leftovers with it. You just can make it in no time whatsoever. And for me, that would be frittatas. When it comes to leftovers, I don't think I've ever made a frittata intentionally. If I did, it was for work purposes, and that's about it. But normally you can turn anything into a frittata, and for me that's leftovers. In this particular case, I have some leftover bacon, I've got broccoli from my CSA, I have leftover onion from my CSA. What else do I have? Some squash from my CSA, just a variety pack of things. And then I had meant to use gnocchi in an earlier recipe and didn't, so I'm going to throw gnocchi into the mix as well. If you've not made a frittata before, they're wonderful. They're easy to make. If you have eggs and cream and a bunch of leftovers, you can turn anything into it. One of our favorite frittatas is, I made one with leftover pasta alfredo, like a fettuccine alfredo. That was one of the best leftovers ones, with some added mushrooms and other things in there. The other great thing about a frittata is that once you're done with it, it can sit at room temperature. It makes a wonderful thing. I tend to take them to work because it doesn't necessarily have to be served hot. They make wonderful leftovers because they can heat really well. And basically you take eggs and cream, a bunch of stuff, throw it in the oven, and the oven does all the work. So that's what's for tonight for dinner. So this is one of those meals that I started out with a game plan and then had to change it when I started pulling things out. So one of the things that I like to do with leftovers is to make frittatas. They're fabulous. Not only that, you can frittata you can kind of cook ahead of time, and then it can be served at room temperature. So it makes a really great meal for when my husband's working late. So tonight I have a little bit of bacon left. So I'm going to saute bacon. Then I'm going to cook my onions in that, and I'll also cook up my squash at the same time. I'm going to blanch my broccoli. This is the broccoli that I got at my CSA, so I'm really looking forward to using that. Then I also have some leftover spinach, so I'm going to use that. Of course, there's eggs and then cream to help it rise, and I'll add garlic in there as well. But one of the things is I plan to put potatoes in this because it makes a good thickener and starcher for all this, starch for it. But unfortunately, I noticed that the potatoes, one of them had a wet spot when it got put away, and it actually kind of rotted, and rotted several of the other potatoes as well. So instead I realized I had picked up this gnocchi to use in an earlier meal this week, and I'm going to use it instead. So that's what's for dinner tonight. Look how gorgeous that turned out. You can still see it bubbling along the edges. It puffed up. It's nice and crunchy on the top. You see that nice crust that formed on the top. I'm going to let it sit like this because it kind of needs to pull itself together, and then it'll slide right out on the table and you can cut it out. So for tonight, for dinner, is that frittata. I took bacon and cooked it in the pan, then added onions to it. Then I also put in some squash. I took my CSA broccoli and blanched it, then added it to the mix. Took some gnocchi and cooked it up since I didn't have any potatoes. Threw that in there as well. Some spinach, mixed it in with some eggs, added cheese inside and to the top. And so that's what's for tonight for dinner.